is my signature latte art that I think I really need to have sort of like a copyright on this, just so that no one else, you know, claims such magnificent latte art. Juno, would you like to come and say hello to the people? I'm gonna go get her. She is awake, so I'm not disturbing her. Juno! Oh, hello, gorgeous. Hello, cutie. Hey, cutie pie. Do you want to come say hello? Want to come say hello? This is Juno. She is, I want to say 14 or 15 weeks. We got her when she was just over 11 weeks, and she was found in a hedge. The RSPCA found her in a hedge with all of her siblings. There was quite a lot of them, actually. We always... Do you want to go on my shoulder, maybe? She's probably going to jump on the bookcase now. We always knew that we wanted two. We just felt like two was going to be better than one. But we hadn't really planned on getting cat number 2 this soon. And it wasn't until when we went to Crete on holiday, we took Susie back to the cattery we got her from, because they do cat boarding. And then when we picked her up, I was speaking to the woman saying how we were thinking about getting Susie a friend. Do you have any advice on like age or like, you know, female plus female or male plus female? And she was like, there's not really a hard or fast rule. She just recommended doing it sooner rather than later whilst Susie is still young. And then she was like, do you want me to show you the kittens that we have currently? And there she was. As soon as I saw Juno, she was just there, sat, giving this very confident energy. I knew that she was the one, because we got Susie when she was 22 weeks because she had cat flu. So she was kept in the cattery a lot longer than kittens normally would be, just to check that she was okay. And she's very shy. She just does her own thing. She's a very, Miss Independent. And when I saw Juno and I saw her confidence, I thought she could be the kitten that brings Susie out of her shell a bit more, and that is exactly what she has done. The first 3 days of the two of them together was a bit like touch and go, because Susie was like, what on earth is happening? What have you done? But then I think it was on day 5, I found them both asleep in Dean's drawer, and it melted my heart, and I was like, this was the right thing to do. Because the first few days I was a bit like, I don't know if this was the right thing to do. I was just like terrified that we'd like broken Susie's trust and that she was going to be really upset and not get used to it. But yeah, day 5, find them asleep together, and yeah, that was it. Like, they are great together. See, like, Juno has brought Susie out of her shell so much. Like, we see Susie a lot more now. Like, she would often spend evenings just like curled up in a drawer somewhere, or she'd go and sit on her hammock, or she'd just take herself away for the evening and we wouldn't really see her. Now she sits in the lounge with us most evenings. Her and Juno will play in the lounge, they'll go off together and do something, they'll sleep together. Yeah, they're mates. I catch them grooming each other all the time, and I am so glad that we got Juno, because I think it was exactly what Susie needed. Also, Susie has so much energy. Normally, you will sit on my shoulder, but not today. You're being so wriggly. You will obviously see a lot of Juno throughout this vlog, and the two of them together. So yeah, we're now a 2-cat household. I think it will stay at a 2-cat household. Yeah, the idea of any more than 2 is a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure. Right, I've dragged myself out of the seasonal depression that I've allowed myself to wallow in for the past 6 days. The sun's out, and Dean and his dad are spending their Sunday cracking on with the roof on the extension, and I feel like a combination of those 2 things is really the kick up the butt I need to be productive today, because there are a lot of things that I should have done last week that I didn't do, so now I've got to do them all today. I already feel a lot better though, just putting clothes on and makeup. Like, yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna let myself wallow in this, because it was just so dark and gloomy all of this week. But then by the end of the week I did start to feel really crap, so yeah, I feel like I need this day out of the house to just like make me feel a bit better. Here is what I'm wearing. The beanie is from, sorry, I've got Oh, itchy nose, there we go. This is from the recent Tekla Aurelie collaboration. I love the pom-pom, very fun. And it's hiding a multitude of dirty hair sins underneath here. This House of Dagmar coat, which is kind of surgically attached to me at this point. I mean, how much I'm wearing it, I think, is a testament to how beautiful it is. Underneath, I've got a very underrated basic. This is a cashmere t-shirt jumper hybrid type of thing. I always wear, this is from COS a couple of years back. I always wear these kind of things at this time of year because they're so good for, like, you know, that sort of like 10, 11 degrees where you kind of want to wear the big coat, but you don't need anything thick under the big coat. This kind of top is really good for that. Sunspell actually have a really beautiful one in at the moment that's got a kind of like mock neck, which I really want to try next time I find myself near a Sunspell store. Cosbell, these Sandro trousers, which are so old. I think they're about, I want to say like 4 years old at this point. I still get so much wear out of them and they're still in such good condition. Like the quality of them is like great. Salmon Armel suede moccasins. And then I'm going to fill my Corley Studio bag today. Excuse me, are you going to help me open this? Yeah? Are you going to help me open this new piece of furniture? What could it be? Is it something fun for you to climb on? Look at you two! Immediately adopted that as your own, and you're probably going to start just fighting on it. Great. Guys, I'm trying to film for the vlog. Can you please be on your best behaviour? Okay, they're now playing behind the curtain. Oh no, Susie's back up. So this is going to be Dean's personal footstool. How lucky for him. He currently uses the coffee table as a footstool, and it really bugs me because I want to be able to dress the coffee table more, but there's no point because he'll just move it all and pop his feet up. So this will now be his personal footstool. Obviously it's quite high at the moment, so Dean will cut it so it just sits a little bit lower. Found it through a vintage furniture seller based in East London, I believe they're in, called Push Pull. I will leave a link to their website and also to another one of these because they were selling two. And at the time of me filming this, the other one is still available. So if you're interested, that will be in the description box. And then the final piece of furniture that I really, really hope is arriving this week. I've had a massive delay with getting it shipped over. It's finally in the UK, but it's now getting it from where it is in the UK to me that seems to be taking a while. I don't know why. But it's a unit for a TV. I say a TV. It's not going to be this TV because this TV will... I don't know what we're going to do with it. We will find a use for it somewhere, but it's too big. It's quite cool having a big TV to watch films on, obviously also to watch Place in the Sun on because that's all I watch during the day, but it will be too big to, it's like it can't sit in the alcove basically, and the unit sits perfectly in the alcove. It's a proper cabinet with cupboard fronts, so what we'll do is we'll get a smaller TV that fits in the alcove and we'll mount it on one of those like adjustable brackets so that when it's not in use it can sit flat against the wall, and then when it is in use we can just pull it out and slightly angle it so it will still be sat on the cabinet, but it will just have the security of the bracket holding its weight, if you know what I mean. I hope that works. In my head that is the best plan for this whole TV setup, and then that's it. No more furniture for this room until that gets turned. Oh my god, it's such a mess. They're their personal personal boxes for Susie and Gina to play in. So when, I've said this before, but I'll obviously say it again, when we have our new dining room in the extension, this will then get turned into like a secondary lounge area. So this will have more like armchairs. Oh, hello. Armchairs and a coffee table. Not entirely sure, but it will be some sort of like armchair setup. But that I'm not thinking about just yet. I'm just very pleased that finally a TV unit is on its way. Look at her. I had grand plans of going out. I was literally about 20 minutes away from going out. I was just waiting for that stool to be delivered. Had some jobs that I needed to get done, and then I wanted to shoot some outfit content, but that's not happening now, is it? Is it? I think this calls for putting the fire on, maybe watching some Place in the Sun, reading my book. Hopefully tomorrow will be a more fruitful day because I really wanted to get some outfit content shot. Sorry, I know this is so dull, but I'm actually like quite shocked at how much this is settling. I know it's not thick, thick snow, but I've not seen it settle like this, not since we moved into this house, so nearly 2 years ago. I genuinely thought this was going to be about 5 minutes of snow and then it would disappear. This has been about 45 minutes now. And it's making the garden look quite nice. It's kind of covering a lot of the mess. Susie, completely unfazed by it. The ultimate, just like resting bitch face, isn't it? That is what having a black cat is like. They just look at you so unimpressed 90% of the time. Hello, hello. I'm really hoping this whole microphone situation is okay. I can see the volume level, so I know not to bring the mic any closer than this. I know lots of people don't like the whole microphone thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it regularly. It's just because I'm using the Fuji camera because I want to shoot wide. But when I talk into the Fuji camera, I have to have a microphone set up because the internal mic isn't very good. But I love the way the video footage looks on the Fuji. So yeah, it's just a bit of like testing out microphones at the moment with this camera. The Sony ZV-1's great. That's my normal vlogging camera, but I can't shoot wide with it. And then I could shoot wide with the iPhone, but then the quality is so bad on the iPhone. So I'm just cycling between the three cameras at the moment for different purposes. And I'm beginning to think that maybe just going back to the Canon G7X would be a better solution. Anyway, it's cold. As you saw yesterday, it snowed. No snow today, so I'm going to go out and actually get all the jobs done that didn't get done yesterday. And I am bundling up. I've got the big Raey Coat on. R.I.P. to Raey. It's very sad that wasn't. I genuinely thought that maybe they'd try and continue it or save it. It's so sad that it no longer exists. Such a good coat. It's so thick and heavy, and even though it only does up at the top, because it's so thick and heavy, it kind of like traps the heat in. Like, it's a lot warmer than you think a coat with no buttons would be. And then Jean Erica Bellum jeans. I've got the Row Marie H sneakers on in the full black colourway. These are the black cotton upper. And then this knit from Scowl, which is a few years old, like matches this coat perfectly. Like, the colour is almost identical. And then I'm going to bundle up with some more brown layers. How much brown is too much brown? Rise and Fall hood, which is so much more comfortable in my opinion than a snood. I've been very vocal about my struggles with, not a snood, a balaclava, and just how I actually find them really difficult to wear. And I think a looser hood is much better because there's no issues with like looking like an egg, because it's just a hood. It's just a regular hood that you can pull on and off, and it's very thick and warm. The Row banana bag, and then these gloves are from Studio Nicholson. Such nice light coming through this morning. I think once the scaffolding is off, which will hopefully be in about 2 weeks' time, we can really gauge how the light's going to hit this section of the bedroom. It's dual aspect, which I don't think I've properly been able to illustrate yet. I will get up there in the next couple of days and kind of maybe try and show you what it's like in there. But so that is essentially an extension of this bedroom, but you can't access it from this room yet because we haven't knocked through yet. We will knock through after Christmas, I think. But there is a window on the other side, so it's going to be a really nice room, I think, because in the morning there'll be all the sun hitting it from this side, and then in the afternoon as the sun goes around the front of the house, you'll have the sun come in. So and it has 2 windows on the front, so I think there's going to be some really nice light in there. Yeah. There is just a saw going straight through our brickwork to create an opening for the steel to sit here so that we can knock this wall out into the new part of the bedroom. But yeah, you need steel obviously to hold up the roof, otherwise once we knock through all of this it would just collapse. feel quite embarrassed to admit this, but these things happen to even the most cautious of us. I think I'm kind of being scammed by a courier company. It's a bit of a weird situation. Some of you might remember I said I bought a unit for our TV, and it was supposed to get delivered and it didn't get delivered. Well, it has been quite a saga in the last week. So just for context, I bought a cabinet from Belgium, and rather than getting the seller to organise the shipping, I said, don't worry, I'll sort it out. And I used Shipley, which is like a sort of agent middleman type thing that connects you with different couriers and drivers. You kind of put out the job that you want help with, and then people will come back with a quote. I've used it before, and it's been fine. It sometimes can be a bit of a slow process, but ultimately it's a lot cheaper than using like bigger couriers. Anyway, so booked to have this collected, everything went fine, and then was given a delivery date, and then it just didn't get delivered. And I was like, okay, but there was no communication as to why it didn't get delivered, it just didn't get delivered. So I was like, I'll just contact them and get it, organised again. And just didn't hear from them for quite a while, I think for about 5-6 days. And what's frustrating is that this courier company never ever answer the phone. They only really communicate via email. Sometimes we'll reply on WhatsApp, but it's mostly email, and they only seem to reply once a day around 5 p.m. just before their office shuts. So it's very slow communication. Anyway, I eventually heard back and was given a very vague answer, and they kept giving me these vague answers that they were just working on it. They were working on getting it delivered, and they'd let me know when. And then eventually I got like a different answer, and they said that it was currently in a storage unit up in Manchester because of a failed delivery. And I was like, wait, what? Failed delivery? I was not like told about this whatsoever. And they're like, yeah, you didn't pay the customs fee in time when it got to the border, so we had to put it in storage. I was like, wait, I don't understand. Like, how did it get over the border then if I didn't pay the customs fee in time? Like, if it made it over the border, then why could it not have been delivered when you said it was going to be delivered? It was very confusing. I was like, wait, what? I think they were implying that they needed payment for the customs fee when they got to the border, but that was never communicated to me. Like, no one got in touch with me to say, oh, by the way, we're at the border, can you make payment for customs, or like, here's the customs invoice. It was very strange, but I had paid it like a few days after. Anyway, lots of back and forth about that, very confusing. They were very rude to me. Like really unprofessional and really rude. Anyway, I was just like, can you just like detail where it is and when it will be delivered? That's all I really want at this point. Like, let's just forget about all that kind of stuff. Again, silence. And then eventually was told that they couldn't deliver it before Christmas, and they were going to charge me for all of the storage fees to keep it stored until they could deliver it, or I could get a new courier organised to pick it up. And I was like, what? Like, you didn't even attempt delivery. I could understand if they'd attempted delivery and then put it in storage. I'd be like, okay, that's fair enough, but they didn't even attempt a delivery. So lots of back and forth about that. And now I have eventually just decided to suck it up and get someone to go and pick it up today from some like just random address I've been given on an industrial unit in Manchester. I just pray that they answer the phone when this courier gets there, because they've blocked my number, so I can't I can barely communicate with them at all now. I've tried to get Shipley involved, get their like customer support involved. They don't seem fazed by it. So yeah, we'll see if it gets picked up today. I really hope it does, because it's a beautiful cabinet, and I don't want to be scammed out of like my delivery fee and my cabinet. But yeah, it's such a weird situation, and like I just was quite surprised by it, because I felt like going through Shipley was supposed to be like this safe process and like everything was vetted. But yeah, it's just been quite stressful. So I'll keep you updated as to whether my unit gets picked up today or not. The cabinet saga continues, and it's only been about an hour since I told you about it. So the people who are holding my cabinet storage, because that's what it feels like, are now saying that there is no one available to meet the courier that I've booked at the storage unit to hand over the cabinet. Will this cabinet be delivered by the time this vlog is up? It remains to be seen. Will I have a breakdown by the end of the day and be in floods of tears because I think I'm getting scammed? More than likely. Anyway, I am now about to do a very nice montage of footage from when I went to Cambridge last week. I was there shooting some bits for COS, and then once I was done, I spent a couple of hours in the city. It's so nice at this time of year. It has this real sort of like Donna Tartt, The Secret History feel to it. And this, I really want to go back before Christmas. There's so much more I want to explore. I was at the Fitzwilliam Museum, didn't even get the chance to fully explore that. Such a beautiful building, so definitely want to go back and like explore way more. Anyway, I feel like just to set the tone of the footage, I'm going to do a little outfit. Both the knit and the skirt from Raey. I feel like this is like the grey V-neck to end all grey V-necks, because the waistband is designed like tighter than the rest of the knit, so it creates this really nice shape. It kind of almost creates that tuck look without actually having to like faff about with tucking it in, which is really great for like skirts like this. And it's really thick and heavy, beautiful. And then the skirt is a brushed wool, also really just nice and thick, got such a good weight to it. And then the boots, which I think are probably going to look a little bit, the colour probably won't be the true representation in this light. They're much more of like a sort of, I wouldn't say conker brown, maybe not quite conker brown. They've got a bit more of a burgundy undertone. They're so beautiful, and I think the shape of them, like COS have really nailed the shape. I've seen so many brands just get the shape of this type of boot wrong. Like the shaft is the perfect size, not too wide, not too slim, and then the arm and toe is really nice as well. And then my earrings are also from COS, and then I got a really good vintage coat recently. So I was very inspired by the kind of big opera style coats that I saw the Row do this season. Stunning, stunning shapes. And I was like, I would love something like that. I'd love something collarless and quite big and wide that can fit over like fuller skirts, or like if I'm wearing like a full dress or something. And I feel like I found a winner. So it's a vintage Jean Paul Gaultier men's coat, collarless, really thick wool. Stunning. I was contemplating whether to get it taken up, but now that I see it, I'm like, actually no, I'm going to keep it the way it is. I love this like really full shape that you can see from the side. The only frustrating thing is it came with a belt but no belt loops, so I'm going to try and do some DIY belt loops, because otherwise this is like having to store this in my bag when I take my coat off is, yeah, it's not great. I do feel like it requires like some sort of like something else, you know, like a contrasting scarf. I'm just kind of looking at handbags thinking, what could I use? But I'm conscious that I have been talking about an outfit for too long. But yeah, this is kind of like the basis of the outfit. I'm not normally one to do, you know, like a humble brag, but this level of glow at this time of year deserves a shout out, because normally I am beginning to look like a corpse round about now, and no amount of makeup helps. But the combination of these two, which I've been doing for like the last 4 or 5 days, is the dream team. The Dior Forever Skin Perfect stick. Thank you to Michelle Lynn for this, because she recommended it to me last time I saw her. She always has great makeup, and the texture of it is like, it's so lightweight. It's almost a bit mousse-like. It's hard to explain. Virtually like undetectable on the skin. Like, can't even feel it. It's very unusual. I love it. I'm just struggling with a little bit of shine control throughout the day. I think I need to test it with a few different primers and see if that will help. Paired with Westman Atelier's Vital Skincare Concealer, which is like the most featherweight cream I've ever experienced in concealer form. I was really hoping I'd be able to give you a bit more of a visually appealing update on how the extension is coming along. But due to the bad weather, unfortunately, you get to see it just in the rain, just looking an absolute mess. The weather's been so bad the last week, and it's pushed everything back. So I was hoping to be able to show you a point now where the roof's finished and the scaffolding's coming off, but unfortunately those things can only be complete when the weather's okay, and it hasn't been. All that's left to do, and it doesn't sound like a lot, it's installing windows, getting the tiled roof finish and the flat roof finish, but unfortunately all three of those things are weather dependent. It has to be dry, and we haven't had a dry day, or it has to at least, like, it can't be freezing or snowing. So we're just hoping for some dry days soon, and then hoping that people are free on those dry days to help finish those last little bits. I say little, they're actually really big things. But then once they're done, the scaffolding can come off. And I really, really hope it comes off before Christmas, because I would love, love, love to put a little Christmas tree outside the front of the house, just like a little one in a pot with some lights on. I think that would be the ultimate Christmas gift to me, is having the scaffolding taken off our house. I would just, that's all I want for Christmas. Okay, before I settle in for a cozy weekend of editing the vlog and then reading, because that is literally all I plan to do this weekend while the weather's like this, I thought I'd go through my Goodreads, because I was really hoping by the time I started vlogging again that I'd have a whole bunch of books to talk about. But I was actually in a bit of a slump, because I abandoned 2 books, one after the other, and I felt so defeated by that. I then felt like I just couldn't find the book that was for me, and I was just kind of off reading. So then a couple of weeks ago I put a thing out on Instagram just asking for any recommendations for books that have helped people get themselves out of a slump, or just like completely enthralled them recently. And it was really helpful, because I feel like I now have this great list to refer back to. And it was also the push I needed to start Demon Copperhead, because this was recommended to me so much on Instagram, and I've had it on my bookshelf for ages, and I am so glad I started this. This is the exact type of book I needed. I am loving this. I'm completely into it. I'm halfway through. I'm very eager to get the vlog edited and scheduled so that I can spend the weekend finishing this. But I thought I might as well talk about the 2 books that I did manage to finish since I last did a book update, and then the 2 that I didn't finish. So the 2 that I didn't finish, The Anniversary by Stephanie Bishop. I actually just picked this one up at random in a bookshop, and really liked how it sounded. Thought it was going to be a thriller about a woman's husband who goes overboard on a cruise, but it wasn't quite focused on that as much as I thought it was going to be. And it was also it was really wordy. Some of you will know what I mean when I say that, when you're just rereading bits over and over because you just can't seem to get it. That was for me. I don't know. Sometimes when that happens, it makes me really am I being really stupid? But in the end, I was like, no, I can't keep doing this. And then the other one that I didn't finish was Burnham Wood by Eleanor Kitten. Again, the style of writing, the pace of it just wasn't what I kind of wanted at the time. I felt like I didn't like anyone in the story. There wasn't much I liked about it. There wasn't anything I liked about it. So that was quickly abandoned. However, the 2 books I did finish, An Honest Man by Ben Ferguson, I really enjoyed that. And then I also quite liked The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I felt like any book that I managed to finish was an accomplishment. So that's my book update. Another update, the cabinet saga continues. Don't have the cabinet, unfortunately. I was really hoping that it would have been picked up yesterday and delivered today, but unfortunately the it's a whole mess of a situation. But basically the people who are kind of effectively holding my cabinet hostage are so unresponsive, and then by the time they were responsive yesterday, they were saying that the premises that they've held my cabinet in was closed and there was no one available to hand the cabinet over. So the courier is going to try again on Monday to pick it up, and they're going to try earlier in the day in the hopes that there will be someone available. It's such a messy situation, and Shipley aren't really stepping in and helping me, so I'm just sort of trying to do what I can with what I have. And when they're being so unresponsive, it's just there's not much I can do. So you'll have to watch next week to see if that gets resolved. I'm going to be vlogging weekly now for the rest of the year. Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya.
There you go.
Dean's just gone and got me a USB-C card reader because I bought a new laptop recently and I didn't realise I didn't have a memory card reader. I'm going to try and vlog weekly because I want to give myself the task of that. So those of you who like the longer vlogs, it does mean that the vlogs will be a little bit shorter now, but those of you who like the vlogs more regularly, you're winning now. But I just felt like at this time of year it's just a bit meh, isn't it? And I quite like watching wholesome, mundane content, and I feel like I want to offer that every week. So I'm going to try and do that, but it does mean they'll be a bit shorter. Anyway, I'm going to get this vlog edited and ready to go for tomorrow, and I'll see you all next week.